Think back to when you were a little girl. What did you want to be when you grew up? Engineer? Doctor? Lawyer? Rocket scientist? Rock star? Get in touch with that little girl inside. Think about what it was that you wanted to be when you grew up. Hands up those of you who are doing that. A few, fantastic. That's great. It's funny, we have these little dreams. Now, I knew a little girl who loved to sing and dance and dreamed of being a star. And one particular day, she was wandering around the house, pretending that she was a famous opera singer. Now, it happened that that day, her uncle was visiting, and he heard not the beautiful sounds of opera that almost brought him to tears, but what he perceived as an ugly, piercing, screeching noise that almost brought him to tears. He put his hands up to his ears, and he went, "Ah, you're hurting my ears." And then he turned to the little girl, and he laughed. He said, "Don't give up your day job. You'll never be a singer." In that moment, a little girl's dreams were shattered. Her self-confidence and self-belief was rocked to the point where she almost never sang again. Now, these things happen. Maybe you've had something in your life where somebody said something, or a situation has occurred that has really rocked your self-confidence and stopped you doing the very thing that you want to do. Now, of course, lack of confidence isn't in our best interests if we want to reinvent ourselves. So today, I'm going to share with you some of my hints and tips that I've learned over many, many years in terms of how to improve your confidence. And also a simple concept that will help you as you reinvent yourself. Does that sound okay?
Yeah.
Excellent. Now, you might have gathered that little girl I was talking about was me. And that comment from my uncle all those years ago really did impact my life in a significant way. Despite that, I held on to this dream that I wanted to be a performer. But the singing thing, I really struggled with. And I had years and years and years of singing lessons. But I didn't ever improve because I didn't practice, because I didn't want anyone to hear me. So despite that, I held on to this dream. I went to performing arts school, and I did end up becoming a performer. But I didn't sing in public solo until I was 25. And even then, it was with excruciating fear and nerves and paranoia. I wasn't good enough, that my voice wasn't strong enough or pretty enough or tuneful enough. I ended up going, I did a musical where the character that I played didn't have to sing very well. So I was able to explore my voice a little bit more and discover that actually there really was a strong voice in there. And so I'm a big believer of getting out of your comfort zone. And so I finally got up the courage to audition for an act. It was actually a 60s tribute show, a trio of girls. And to my surprise, I got the job. And so I became one of the fabulous Shoop Shoops. And we performed around Australia and in Indonesia. Now, despite this, and the fact that we all shared an equal amount of lead singing, lead vocals and backing vocals, I always felt like the weak link. And I'd be standing next to these two other girls, smiling and singing all the time, these negative thoughts just bombarding my brain that I wasn't good enough. If I saw someone in the audience turn to speak to this person beside them, I'd imagine that they were saying, "She sounds terrible, what's she doing in this band?" Imposter syndrome. She was probably just turning and saying, "I'm going to the bar, what do you want to drink?" But in my head, I was making up all sorts of stories about it. I had really lost the joy of singing because of this fear that I was allowing myself to have. And what that did was, it meant I wasn't even connecting properly with the audience because I was so far in my head that I was just going through the motions of singing and dancing. Now, I am a big believer in fake it till you make it. And that's what I did. I pretended I was confident. And in actual fact, the more I did that, the more confident I became. So that's my first tip in terms of confidence. It is okay to fake it till you make it. We might not always feel exactly the way we want to feel, but actually by stretching ourselves and faking it, we can actually make it. Some of you may have seen a TED Talk by Amy Cuddy. Hands up if you've seen that. It's about power posing and how your body language shapes who you are. And she talks about the fact that not even fake it till you make it, but fake it till you become it. And I really like that idea. So think about what you need to do in order to fake it till you make it for whatever it is that you want to do. So that's the first tip. The second tip is around our self-talk. We all have it, and as it was mentioned earlier, sometimes it's negative. What we want to do is really catch ourselves when we are in the midst of that negative self-talk and flip it around. I work with people who come to me because they have a fear of public speaking or they need help to improve their presentation skills. And often they'll come to me and say, I'm hopeless at public speaking. I always get really nervous and I always mess it up. Always? Are you? So it's about helping people to understand that the more you feed that, the more likely it is that you'll attract that. It's going to be terrible. Something's going to go wrong. I'm going to forget what I'm going to say. Yes, of course you are, if that's what you think you are doing. So take control of that self-talk. I like to call it sexy self-talk. And by that I mean self-talk that really resonates with you, that really gives you a great feeling. So think about your sexy self-talk. The third thing is around visualization. Now, visualization is such a powerful tool and it's used a lot in the sporting arena. For example, Usain Bolt doesn't turn up to the stadium, run a race and get the gold medal. Apart from the physical training that he's done so much mental training. And he will have visualized himself thousands of times from the point of him getting up in the morning, what is he having for breakfast, what is he wearing, how's he getting to the stadium, what's happening in the warm-up arena. When he gets to that start line, he'll have visualized all of that. He'll hear the starting gun, he'll have visualized himself running the race and running through first to the point where he's then standing on the podium and accepting the medal and the glory. Now he's seen that so many times in his mind that it's a given when it actually does it. And we can use that same technique any way we like. So think about something that you want to achieve and visualize yourself succeeding. Sound good? So we're faking it till we make it. We're having our sexy self-talk. We are visualizing our desired outcome. And another thing that we want to do is exercise our courage muscle. Now, clearly I just made that up. We don't have a muscle called a courage muscle. But I like to think of it as a courage muscle because actually the more we exercise it, it strengthens. So that is about stepping out of your comfort zone. That is about just stretching yourself a little bit further. And each time you do, it builds that courage and it builds that confidence. So if there's one thing that you do today, for example, you think about, well, actually, this is what I want to do, just take one little step towards it that's just slightly outside of your comfort zone and you will exercise that courage muscle and strengthen it so that it helps you prepare going forward. The final thing I wanted to share with you today is around the idea of using your physicality. Okay, so what happens when we feel a bit nervous or lacking in confidence? What do our bodies do? Do we shrink down? Yeah, we make ourselves smaller. But the very simple act of changing our physicality, sitting up straight, try it just now. You can stand if you want, but just sit up straight. Put your shoulders back, head up. How does that feel? Can you feel the difference in energy? And if you watch the TED Talk, and we can send you a link to that if you like, because it's a really useful one to watch, Amy Cuddy's talk. There's been some controversy around her research, but anecdotally, it works. So she talks about power posing and making your body bigger and how it changes the body, the chemistry in your body, so increases testosterone and reduces cortisol. Now, you don't have to go as far as doing a big power pose or a Wonder Woman pose. You can do it as simply as turning your wrists forward. So you can do it even in your chair. So just try that. Just turn your wrists forward. And it's amazing what that does to how you feel. And so I do it when I'm going to an important meeting, or if I'm just about to go on stage, for example, I just turn my wrists forward. If I'm walking somewhere and I want to feel confident when I arrive, I do this. It changes the way you walk just a little bit. You kind of get this like sassy thing going on, which is not a bad thing, but just be aware that can happen. So there are sort of just a few tips on how you can start to manage your confidence and build your confidence. So thinking about fake it till you make it, really catch your self-talk, change all those negative things to positive affirmations, and you'll have a much more positive outlook. What else? Remind me what I've just said. I said fake it till you make it. Whoa. Affirmations, visualization, using your body, and then stretching the courage muscle. Yeah? So those 5 things I've found to be really helpful in my life, and I encourage you to just try it. It's not rocket science, this stuff. We know this, but we don't always do it. So it's about making a commitment to do it. Now, having said that, I'm human, and things happen in my life that really rock me and rock my confidence. And so I found myself some time back, about a year and a bit ago, where I was in a really, really low place. I don't know, it wasn't necessarily my confidence was lost, but my sense of excitement about anything was lost. I felt like I completely lost my mojo. Has anyone been in that situation where, yeah, hands up, yeah. And I don't know whether it's my age, I just turned 50, all those hormonal things, and hopefully I'll find out a bit about that this afternoon. But yeah, I just really felt like I lost the joy. I wasn't excited about anything. I was moping about. And I don't know how it plays out for you when that happens. But for me, I mean, from the outside, everything looked great. So my business was going really well. I just bought and renovated a new flat, a great place to live, and I bought myself a cute little red convertible car. It was my first car that I bought for myself in the UK, and I love driving. But I wasn't even excited to drive my car. I was just really, ugh. So what happens when I'm in that situation, and this may be, you might relate to this, I do 3 things. The first one is that I spend a lot of time on social media, observing other people's lives and avoiding my own. Does anyone do that? The second thing I do is eat my body weight in chocolate. Anyone relate to that? And then the final thing is that, for me, I stopped wearing my red lipstick. Now I know that sounds maybe a little bit trivial and frivolous, but my red lipstick really is part of my identity. I love it. I wear it when I feel good, and I wear it when I want to feel good. So when I got to the point that I really didn't want to put my lipstick on, I thought things are pretty dire here. And to be honest, around that time, I was spending a lot of time in my pajamas. And lipstick didn't really go so well with the pajamas. So I was moping about, and I don't know about you, but for me when I'm like that, I didn't want to burden anyone with what I was feeling, so I didn't really want to talk to anyone about it. But I had a business call booked with a speaker friend of mine, and I thought, do you know what, I'll have the call, I just won't mention how flat I am. So we had this call, and he was great. We spoke for 2 hours. And at the end of that conversation, he said, Mel, I think the answer's really simple. Everyone associates the colour red with you. It's vibrant and energetic and positive. So you just need to get back to that. You just need to get back to that part of you. So I think you should put on your red lipstick, go for a drive in your red car, just stop being blue and be more red. Well, classic simple answer there. And of course we all know, for people who are suffering clinical depression or mental illness of any sort, you can't just say stop being blue. But in this context, it really worked for me. And I hung up the phone, and the words "be more red" were just ringing in my ears, and I couldn't stop thinking about it. I thought, wow, this is amazing. And then I started to think about, well, what does red actually mean? And it means a lot of different things for different people and in different cultures. But in this context, it's about power and passion and love and energy. And I thought about, what does that mean for me? What does being more red really mean? And I thought, do you know what? It's about me getting back to who I am, the core of me, the essence of me, and really leaning into that. Because when we do that, when we get connected with the core of us and the essence of us, and we lean into it, we get more of everything. So we're more authentic, we're more confident, things flow a bit better. So I started to think about, okay, well, red is one thing for me, but it might be something different for other people. And then I started to think about red as an acronym. I thought, okay, so what if I could choose my shade of red depending on the situation, depending on how I wanted to feel, how I wanted to show up. And so then I started to think about this red as an acronym, and I came up with all of these red words, words that started with R and E and D. And I started writing a book, and I bought the domain name bemorered.com, and like within 24 hours of this conversation, it was all happening. I thought, wow, this is so exciting. This is about, is that 5? Yeah. This is about me really having the opportunity now to develop something that's going to help me and other people. Now you may have seen on your chair a little postcard, and if you want to grab that just now, on one side, it's got a little random picture of me. On the other side, it has just a small selection of R-E-D words. I want you to have a look at those words and see if any resonate. See what might be right for you. So do you want to be more resplendent, enchanting, and dazzling? Maybe you want to be more resilient, empowered, determined. Depending on the situation, it's your acronym. You can choose whatever you like. I want you to think about a situation that you might have coming up. It might even be at lunchtime when you're networking today, whatever it is. What shade of red would you like to connect with and show up as? Who would like to share a shade of red that might be appealing for them? And it doesn't have to be about the networking, because you might not want everybody to know that you're trying to be resplendent and dazzling in the networking session. But just think about what's resonating with you. What shade of red is right for you? Have you got one, Linda?
Yeah, probably resplendent, energetic and driven.
Resplendent, energetic and driven. I like that. Who else has got one? Do you want to share one?
I'm radical, I think as people who know me would know, empowered and driven.
Radical, empowered and driven. Are they really powerful, positive words? I love that. Any other shades of red? Yes.
Real, resilient, exceptional, energetic, empowered, enchanted.
She's all the shades of red there can be. I love that. Now, on that happy note, I'm not going to ask anyone else because I'm going to talk that. So I want you to have a think about that. You know, what shade of red are you? What shade of red would you like to be? Now, I've created a program and I've run it a few times. I'm using it with clients as well. And one of my clients, I've got a longer list of RED words. And she has it sitting on the table, on the mirror where she does her makeup every morning. And she thinks every morning, what have I got on today? And how do I want to show up? So she chooses a shade of red every morning. And she says it's completely transformed her day. Every day she starts it with an intention on what shade of red that she's going to be. And it means that she's more confident, but also she's more remarkable, she's more interactive with people because she's made a conscious choice of how she wants to show up. So I encourage you to think that. And if you would like to explore this more, I have a program, an online program that is starting on the 1st of March. And I'd love you to join me because, hands up, I am going to do it myself, properly all in and get vulnerable. So I've realised that there are days when maybe I'm not actually living my truth, living this whole Be More Red thing. So I'm going to jump in and do it, boots and all. I'm going to get vulnerable. This program, it runs over 5 weeks. It has a video to your inbox each week. We'll have a Facebook group. I'll do a group coaching session live each week to help you explore the Be More Red concept. And then by the end of it, you'll have that real feeling of being empowered, being reconnected with who you are, and the confidence to kind of get out and do things. So if you'd like to join me, I've got a really super duper special offer today. You'll probably see a flyer around, but it's normally £147 and it's £100 off today. So for £47, less than a tenner a week for the 5 weeks, you can join me and explore the whole Be More Red concept. And hopefully that will help you in your whole journey of reinventing yourself. So on that happy note, I would like you to just keep on remembering about being all red. Who's ready for that? Thank you.